Again, thank you for being here so late. It's about 10:35. We're all tired, but I try to be entertaining. I mean, I'm not the best thing, but that's right. And another thing is, if you have questions during my talk, please feel free to interrupt, raise your hand and ask me. So I like if there is a bit of interaction. So if your question is specific to a slide, feel free to ask. If it's a longer discussion, maybe let's talk later, after a couple of years. Okay, before we start, also I want to tell you something. So I'm a member of Social Distortion Protocol, or SDP for short. We are a collective spawned in the waste products of social media virtual realities and psychedelic drugs. Maybe this doesn't help you understanding exactly what we're doing, and this next slide is a bit better. So we're a collective from the year 2045. So if you wait 22 years, we will be born. Okay? And we were born to fight the corporations that are commodifying democracies, manipulating governments, and destroying the environment. So this is when we were born. And just to give a rough idea on what it means to live in the year 2045, I have some screenshots from some newspapers, from some news outlets out there. So I just want to warn you that Jeff Bezos will be the President of the United States of America in 2044. 1 year after, there will be a rebranding of USA to United States of Amazon.com. This was, like, people were not super happy about this, but then everyone got Amazon Prime and they shut up. Elon Musk's plan to have this mass exodus to Mars was actually for 1% of the people. And the other 99% of us were left behind. This is what Vice will write or vote, depending on which side of the timeline we are. But Vice wrote the 99% left behind with nothing but plants and broken dreams. So yes, we will smoke some weed in the meantime. And last but not least, we as the Ethereum community, we also fucked up a couple of things. So during DevCon 41 in Osaka 3, there was this new merge that we call the Singularity. We merged blockchain with AI, and something like this happened. I don't know if you saw this already, but if yes, you get reference. And that was terrifying. We still don't know exactly how we will solve this issue though. And so as you understand, the future is quite difficult to fix. And we passed the 2 Celsius degrees threshold for climate change, so we can't reverse this process anymore. And we're too weak for these huge corporations. So our new strategy, instead of trying to fight the power, is to travel back in time to warn you guys of the future you will face if you don't fight. So that's our mission, and that's why I'm here today. We run quite some special operations, and then we'll talk about these 6 ones. I will put a bit more focus on some technical stuff, so maybe that's interesting for some of you. And overall, I'll try to not talk too much because everyone is tired, me too. So the very first operation we run was called Hans Zuckerberg. And we did it in 2018 at the Chaos Communication Congress. Who goes to the Congress of CCC? Oh, not a lot of people, but okay. There will be a Congress later this year, so check it out, CCC Congress. It's easy to look it online, not on Google, please. And okay, this game was inspired by an operation we run in 2055 called Hans Zuckerberg. And our goal, and we achieved that, we were able to capture Mr. Zuckerberg and turn him over the decentralized courts of cyber justice. And out of this experience, we created this game called Hans Zuckerberg. And we call it a pop-up geocaching game on Ethereum. We say pop-up game because the game exists for the time of the conference or the event, and you can't play before or after. You need to be physically there. And this is also something important about our games. You may need an external device to interact with the game, but the game itself is about like talking to people, spending time, in the meet space, and exploring, moving around, walking, all these kind of things that we're not used to. And okay, so it's a pop-up geocaching game, and this game was running on your mobile wallet browser. So you had to install, that was a bit of a pain point for us, but consider it was 2018 and we didn't know a lot about Ethereum development, also not even sure if burner wallets were there.
Trust Wallet, Cypher,
Trust Wallet
and Cypher.
Yes, so yes, Trust Wallet. But that's exactly the point. So in order to play this game, that was okay. That needed a wallet. You had to install a wallet on your phone. That was a bit of a, let's say, obstacle for getting people to play the game. We asked people to install Trust. That had at the time a decent UX, pardon me. And in order to transact on Ethereum, this game was running on Wikibit, so on a testnet. Anyway, you still need Punt. And what we were doing at the registration of the user, we would help him or help them installing the wallet and then give them a bit of Wikibit to play the game. The game itself was super, super simple. Geocaching, you know how it works, right? So you hide things around and then you give hints on where things are and the player needs to find them. In our case, we chopped Zuckerberg into 27 pieces. I mean, some images like the one I showed before. So this, the famous image of Marco drinking, right? So we chopped the image in 27 pieces, and each piece was called a Zuckerbit. I don't know why we created all these names, but it was fun actually. And each Zuckerbit was a QR code that you had to find. The first person to find the QR code was also the person to get a point in the game. So after you redeem one QR code, no one else could redeem the same. And how many of you are Solidity devs or understand Solidity? Okay, we have some, so I will just spend a second here. This is very basic. This is the whole code for the smart contract that was receiving the submissions by the players. And you see like the old version of Solidity 0424. We had a function called reset to basically tell to the smart contract all the 27 hashes of the secrets, okay, of the codes. And then you as a player, you would use the redeem function through the app to send the QR code that you found to the smart contract. And the smart contract would hash the code and see if it was in the list of the valid QR codes. So that's the system we used. And it worked really well, actually. So we were able to make a game with some JavaScript and a bit of Solidity. And you see here the leaderboard. So you see that over time on the left side, Mark starts to appear, and then by our great surprise, people actually finished the game.
Sure.
The prize was peppermints, that in English is called mouthwash. And it's actually good, by the way. I mean, I like to drink this more than mouthwash. And just for reference, just to give you a rough understanding on our games, we were in the Congress that is full of nerds. Okay, and the last Zuckerbit, we put it in floppy disks. And we asked people to go around, find someone to open the floppy disk and give the code inside and submit it. And that's fun, because you need to go around and interact with people. And they found someone with a floppy disk drive, and they submitted the solution. Then, 1 year after, 2019, we made another game called Planetary, The Tragedy of the Commons. And we did this in partnership with LeakDAO. That was we were building. It was a DAO to create a scaling solution for Ethereum based on Plasma, so an L2 solution. And again, here, the backstory is that while we were distracted by technology, by all the political stance you see online on TikTok and whatever, we actually fucked up the planet. Because in 2045, as I mentioned before, we reached the threshold temperature for yeah, so basically the environment cannot go back from this situation. We reached the tipping point, and all of this created a lot of issues in our society: wildfires, drought, and tropical storms and everything. So in this context, we came back to Berlin in 2019, and we created this game together with Meetup. This was a simulation game based on the tragedy of the commons. Who knows what the... I'm just interacting with you guys, so you don't fall asleep. Who knows what the tragedy of the commons is? Let's see your hands, yay! Okay, I will tell you in a second what it is while I'm explaining the game. And, but for now, just think about this game. It's a simulation game. It runs on a burner wallet. So this time we upgraded from asking players to install a wallet in their phone. They were able to just visit a website, and they had the wallet in the website. Okay, and to onboard users, we would also give them a passport with some funds. The passport was like an NFT, like a unique token, and they got some, we call them goalers, because the game was running on Girly. So we have goalers with the umlaut. And with this money, you were able to buy, for example, we run the game here at Seabase, you were able to buy a drink. Okay, so you would actually have a real item out of your goalers. Now, the fun starts. The game again, you use your mobile phone, but you also need to interact with people. So you start with a small amount of funds, and you're not able to buy a beer with this money. So what you need to do? You're a business, you go around and you do business. So you handshake with others. And shaking was simulated by scanning QR codes with your phones. And every time you do business with someone, you generate funds, you generate new value, and you get more money in your wallet, as well as the other person. We're doing business, okay, we both get value, so we both get more money in our wallet at the end of the day. And then you can use the funds to buy beer. But there is a small problem that every time you do business, you emit CO2 in the atmosphere of the game. What does it mean? If the level of CO2 is too high, the price of the beer will start rising as well. So what do? You can keep doing business in order to afford more beer, but if everyone is doing this, I think we end up in a not great situation, right? And so this is the tragedy of the commons. This is an example of tragedy of the commons. We have a shared resource, and if we all abuse it, everyone loses. And that's, by the way, what we call also this. I call this talk dark games, because our games usually, like, you can't win. You don't tell people. Or even if you win, then in the end something bad happens. And we like to have this kind of twist. On the other side, if you want, instead of buying beer, you can plant trees. And by planting trees, you're lowering the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere. But there is, again, it's really weird, because if I buy a beer, I can enjoy it. If I plant trees, I'm spending money for whom? If everyone is doing this, then I'm doing this, right? So that's, again, about the dynamics of talking to others, try to synchronize, and for us, what is fascinating is how much, like, how many, even with a small amount of code, you can have a lot of different outcomes. And just to add also a bit more fun to the game, in our simulation we have two countries, USA, USB, United States of Ambrosia and United States of Balloon. And for even more fun, your passport had a name on it that was chosen from the top carbon producers in 2017. So for example, I was Chevron, I think, and yeah, that was my wallet. We also have a dashboard, so when playing the game, you would see how CO2 would change over time. And in the simulation we run here at Seabase, things went bad. So we started the game at, I don't know if this is UTC, around like 9:10, and in like 15 minutes, we just like went to total destruction. And the beer, that was I think $1.50, something like this, went to, okay, this is, I just this pound for me, $6.66, but then it went up to, I think, $10 or $20. It was like impossible to buy. When you destroy the environment. So good job, everyone. Some technical things about the game. This run on L2, on a plasma test network developed by Meetup. And the game is UTXO based. So who knows what UTXO is? I mean, we don't need to go into details, but it's painful. That's why I put this emoji. We use the Austin Griffiths burner wallet source code. We upcycle that Gnosis save. That's not that interesting, but for me it is. So instead of deploying it, we needed a multi-stage wallet. And instead of, again, everything we do is about upcycling, right? So instead of deploying a new one, Johan, that was in Litau, told us, oh, I have one I don't use anymore, you can have it. So, I don't know, it's weird, maybe not that useful, but we enjoy the idea of upcycling Gnosis saves. So you can just remove yourself from the signers and then it's safe, right?
Was it less gas? You saved gas?
Sorry?
You saved gas?
Actually, I hope so. But it's more for the rules. A couple of interesting things. What you see here, it's a really tiny phone that was playing the game at the camp. It was really like, you see the fingers, they're not huge, they're actually normal. It was like this size. One thing that we found quite challenging about the game is that it's difficult for this kind of game to define the right parameters. There was a talk before about mechanics of like this kind of systems, and this is a difficult problem also for us because the amount of CO2 you need when handshaking with others can increase or decrease based on the amount of players you have. Otherwise, the game is too fast in failing, let's say. And we played this game at Seabase here for the first time. And then it, Berlin Sky, and the CCC came together. And it was also exhibited in Osaka for at Crypto Grows on Trees, so an art exhibition, and that's actually pretty cool. I would say that was a really, really nice result. And of course, people had fun. People had a lot of fun using. Then Planescape, another game we did for 2018 for the Congress. These games are we just do them, it's not that they're paying us. So if I say CCC Congress, it's not that the CCC is giving us money. Great. I also don't know if they like us. So this is our third time travel operation called Planescape. And again, it's a game to raise awareness on the effects of climate change. And again, we played this at the Congress. Just to give you an overview, again, you have it's a treasure hunt game. It means that there are a story that develops over different chapters. And this story is linear, so if you start at chapter 0, then when you find the solution for chapter 0, you go to chapter 1, and then there's a new puzzle you need to solve. And then if you solve it, you go to 2, 3, and so on till the end. This game is multiplayer, so multiple, well, everything we're doing is multiplayer, we're saying that. This game is played by different teams at the same time in parallel. This is what I wanted to say. And it doesn't require any registration. We had our own burner wallet, so we created a custom app for this. And we also had an automatic funding function that was terrible, but it worked. I mean, this was on Rinkeby again, so the app itself was just asking funds to a faucet we deployed if the funds were low. It's terrible, I know, what you say, it's terrible, see? And, but it worked, and if it's testnet, it's fine. Now you can use Gelato, you can use other GSM, but for us, that was fine. Just as an example, this is the game. Everything must be mobile ready, because the mobile environment, you say, responsive. It's the improving that, sorry. So, because you need to play the game and go around the Congress, so you use your phone. And this is an example of a chapter. You don't need to read all of this, but in this part of the story, you wake up, you don't know where you are, you find a smartphone in your pocket, you try to unlock it with your finger, you cannot unlock it, and then it's asking you for a 4-digit code. Okay, what is the 4-digit code? This is chapter 1, so it's very easy. So we're asking you without any clue, we're asking the player to guess before digit goes. Do you have another suggestion?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you. You go to chapter 2. So when you start, things are quite easy, but still like you have this nice feeling of finding something that, like, okay, here we don't put any reference on what the number could be, but you think maybe 0, 0, 0 or 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then you go to the next turn and you start having fun. We put some clues and some things around the Congress. Again, our goal is also, okay, it's of course to raise awareness on these topics, but also to let people explore and find something new and discover and have new experiences. One thing nice about the Congress is that you have a lot of different assemblies and people bring in different things. And one of the assemblies is for example, the lock-picking one. Okay, so you can learn about lock-picking in that assembly. So we put this kind of secure safe with a really simple padlock here that I stole from a bridge, but it was a lock, you know, the ones that people like just did it. That was a very simple lock to open, because again, we don't want to stress people too much, we just want them to learn something new. And we put lockpicks on this side, and the solution was inside. So you open it, there is a piece of paper saying, can you please close it after? Thank you. You get the code, and then you progress with the game. Wow. I was late. Okay, I'll try to be fast. We also got some, all transactions are on blockchain. So we got some of these data to understand how fast, like how many people ended the journey at the given chapter. We also took some stats on how long it took for them to solve each different chapter. And we had, for this game, 254 players, or I would say addresses. But you don't know if behind an address there is one person, if there are 5 people, or if there is like 0.1 person because they have 10 wallets. Then out of this experience, Landscape, is it right now? We created THC, that stands for Treasure Hunt Creator, as you may guess. And very long. And this is our, given that we like this concept of treasure hunts, we just like took the, we created a framework that would allow you, given a list of chapters, to create the smart contract, provide the smart contract with the data, and create also the depth to play the game. Then of course you need to customize, you need to write your story, and you need to customize the depth, but at least the annoying part is done for you. And we try to do this in the most decentralized way as possible. So all the assets are in VFS, the game logic and leaderboard in the smart contract. There is no indexing. At the time, we didn't have any big graph or anything like that. But anyway, the game is simple enough that you can just query the smart contract directly. And one thing I would like to mention is that in blockchain, all transactions are public, right? So you can go and see who sent the transaction and what is the content. And this is a problem if you think about, this can be a problem for us, because if you have multiple people playing the game and you're at chapter 3, and this chapter 1 is before and the solution is 1, 2, 3, 4, you don't want to submit the code directly to the smart contract, because then anyone can read it. And so we needed something like a zero knowledge proof scheme. And I'm not saying we invented anything new, this is just basic like asymmetric cryptography. But what we do, I think is quite fun and simple. So I will summarize it for the people that are into Solidity here. And if you want, we can talk about this later. But roughly speaking, what it is, I'm a player, I find this solution, which is, again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then from the dev, I need to submit the solution, right? So when I put the code 1, 2, 3, 4 in the input box and I click submit, the dev takes this, the code, creates and uses the code as the private key of a wallet. Okay, so from the code you're able to generate a wallet, and given that you have a wallet, then you can sign a statement saying, yes, this player found me. And then when you submit a signature to the smart contract, and that is, the smart contract can verify that you actually found the solution. So in this way, we're able to submit the solution, or sorry, not the solution, we're able to prove in the smart contract that I know the solution. Because I'm signing a statement from a wallet that is generated by the solution, that's my address. And the smart contract, of course, knows all the addresses of the chapters. That is the public key on the other is public key. If you want, I can explain it again, but otherwise I will just move forward. Then we did another treasure hunt called 2121 for 2020 CCC Congress. That was a fully remote game because of the pandemic. So we decided, the Congress was fully online, so we also decided to do something that was, of course, online. That was much more technical, similar to a capture the flag, more or less. And that was the first, just to give again about a taste about the mood we try to put in the games. We open with this image, cyberpunk, it's late evening, it's raining outside and dark inside. You take a last look at the city before times, when essential lights are turned off. Your flat located at the ground floor of a tall 20 stories building in the mid-80s, well illuminated by the lights of the four screens hovering over your laptop. So we try to create these images of you in the future, and like, it's cool, but also quite dystopian. And I don't know why I wrote a masterpiece in 21 chapters. Actually, the story is quite good, I would say. Let's see, it's a masterpiece. Yes, it was really a masterpiece in 21 chapters. Again, very technical. People took 1.5 days to solve it. And okay, we eat also the 3/4 in Pura. That was extremely painful. I will tell you a trick later. And in general, I think the game suffered. I want to tell you the fun part, but also the parts that we would, for example, now would improve. This game was fully online, and what we're doing is not fully online. So I think there was a bit of a clash between what we tried to do and the medium here. But still, like, people had fun. Then in 2022, together with the amazing people from Daedalus Industries, we created No Time to Die. That is a treasure hunt that we deployed in Twitwilling Dry and Netcom 6. And the treasure hunt was about encryption, espionage, and we had a lot of physical puzzles developed by these guys. We had like a chessboard with two pieces that you have to put in a specific position in order to open the chessboard, and phones, rotary phones, like a lot of really cool stuff. We had this team, Panda Ops, solved the treasure hunt in 12 hours. And there were like 3, 6, 8 people, including Eric Astley. And they had a lot of fun, and I think they said it was quite a challenging treasure hunt. We also played the same game, an updated version of the game at Bogota for Netcom 6. Part of this work has been also sponsored by Netcom, by the way. While all the other games not, just to give you an understanding of how it works. And so again, this is an evolution of the other game for Twitwilling Dry, still built with on THC or with THC, depending on how you see that. The framework would allow you now to also set your ENS name, set your avatar. As you can see here on the left side, this is the leaderboard of all the people working. Playing the game, we were working, they were playing. And we also had secret keys to get even more points. It was also a super nice feature. And we also were able to live update chapters. So if we found an error or something like in the text that people were reading, we were also able to update this well before it was immutable. And side note, the game had 23 chapters, but some players got to chapter 24. Okay. And that was actually really fun. So this is this person reached level 23, and all these other guys, they went past the last level. And I was like, what? How can this happen? And then, just a side note, because I think it's interesting, in THC, each chapter is just a directory with two files, quest.md, that is what you read, and solution, that is the solution to the next level. The last chapter usually has no solution, and usually you don't put the file in the last chapter. But unless you forget it in there, of course. And there was this empty file, so the solution to the last chapter was the empty string that you couldn't submit from the dev, so they went to Etherscan, I think, to just fuck with us. But I loved it. So, I'm done. I just want to give you some last thoughts on what it was for us to create these kind of games in the last years. People love treasure hunts, and people love to really to go around, explore, and connect also with other people. We had teams that were merging during the game because they found each other at a specific location, tried to solve a puzzle, and they then put their forces together to progress with the game. It's really simple also to, in these kind of nerdy environments, for people to start talking with someone else. It's really. Then again, this is random, but it's not ordered in any specific way. Storyline, writing the storyline for a treasure hunt is extremely more difficult than tech. And writing chapters, each single chapter, is much more difficult than writing code. That's mainly I'm a software engineer, not a writer. And no, but really, because if you think about the storyline, then you need to really fill all the tiny gaps in the story and should make sense at the end of the day, and you need to eventually adapt the story to the puzzle, but the puzzle is also related to the location where you're doing the treasure hunt. So there are many factors you need to control. Then zero friction onboarding is possible. As I said before, we started with asking people to install Trust, then we had a burner wallet, then we have our own custom burner wallet. Zero friction onboarding is possible in this kind of games. Also, it's not that people are playing the game on the internet, people are playing the game in a room or in an event. So you can give them, you can onboard them, or don't be scared about like anonymous people joining the game, because maybe it won't happen. I mean, maybe it won't happen. It won't happen. Pay attention to free quotas. As I said before, we were using Ifura, but then the game stopped working, and it was an IPFS, and people had an IPFS hash to open. It was a really trusted path. And so pay attention to free quotas. And side note, Ifura, they were really nice because they gave us a voucher for DEFCON 6 that we could use with like really huge amount of requests. But anyway, yes, pay attention to this. This other thing, not the best way to make money long. I just want to say that these are collective. We just do this for fun, for real. And we also noticed that if this is a service we offer to general companies or whatever, they would have to pay really a lot of money because it's a lot of work. And I'm saying that not the best way to make money, because maybe if you want to make money out of this, you need to really ask for a lot of money, and I'm not sure people will pay, I don't know, a few thousand, I don't know, some money, let's put it again, I don't want to put a label like this big. People, yeah, I think they won't be super happy to pay all of this. Customer service is essential. In these games, we always gave a phone number to call, really, and people called us, and we're like, hi, social distortion protocol, how can I help you today? Like, also LARPing a bit with them is always fun. I mean, we're not LARPing, you know. But, no, customer service is essential. Can it be like your phone or a chat? Just make sure you talk to your players because they're investing a lot of time in the puzzles. And if after 2-3 hours of like banging their head on the wall because they're unable to find a solution, the last thing they want is to know exactly what the solution is. They just want a hint. So you need to play well with them. because maybe they're a bit frustrated. And this happens, I mean, I can totally understand this. I also created a new term, a thin line between fun and frustration, if you want to use a term. Also, writing good balanced puzzles is very difficult. And what is obvious to me is like maybe not obvious for someone else. And that's probably the most difficult part. And again, there will be mistakes and errors. For example, about Planet A, the game with that I told you before about the tragedy of the commons, finding the right balance about CO2 emission and the number of players, it will require probably a PhD thesis. And or anyway, a way for us to adapt the game while people are playing. And we didn't have this, let's say, backdoor to change some rules of the game. So again, consider this and be ready, because some stuff works, some other stuff doesn't, but that's okay. And that's all, guys. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Alberto. Are there any questions? Or you should have asked them in between anyway. Yeah. Yeah. No. Talk to the corner.
It's not a question, just a comment. Like what he said about it's a lot of work. It's true. I helped at this Bogota game, and I've never worked so hard at a DevCon ever. And there's ones where I give multiple talks. And we specifically requested the feature to be able to update chapters while the game was going, because we realized, we're not ready in time and there's mistakes. And we felt like we're constantly fixing things while all the players were catching up to us. And the joke was, you're making this treasure hunt and you're always one level ahead of the players at the top, and as soon as they've reached you, they're condemned to join the team and write puzzles for once and for all.
Thank you. He's one of the smart guys from Philips industry, so he's a lot of literature. So thank you also for working with us on this.
Yeah, it was fun, but tiring.
Any other question?
So what's next?
We would like to make another game for the Congress this year, but I cannot commit. So maybe yes, maybe not. Let's see if the time machine works.
Will the Congress happen?
Sorry?
Will the Congress happen?
Actually, at the Congress we had a lot of fun also with the players, and every time they tell us, yeah, let's do this again, that was super fun, so let's see. Maybe yes.
Just out of curiosity, what is the bulk of the work? Like, what is the hardest part?
In a way, just for me, because I don't know about the other people that participated, but for me was, in a way, try to fit the puzzle in the story. Because sometimes you need something that is very simple, like finding something in a specific area, and you need to, in a way, reframe this area that is in our real world, in the story, in a way that makes sense. So you need to make this transition in a way of physical and real things in the story, and this for me is like difficult.
Any last question? That is not the case. Then give a big round of applause to Alberto.